What's going on, guys? It's Luke here. We made 1,100 bucks today on funded, and then we passed an eval as well. So pretty good Monday to start the week. Again, didn't hit the full take profit on this trade, so it kind of sucks, but I'm going to go through all three trades. We took all on NQ, the other one was on MNQ. I'm going to get into this. All the executions and everything on the Discord. This is trade number one right here, which was the short, which was pre-market. This is the PNL on the funded trade, which was this one right here. And then this was the final trade, which I used to end up passing that eval from the first trade. So we're going to run through this really quick. If you guys want to join the Discord, link is in the pinned comment. And if you guys are interested in joining or signing up with Alpha Futures for the best available discount, link will be in the pinned comment as well. So let's get right into this really quick. So starting off on the first trade, this was in pre-market on NQ, and what I seen basically was price was respecting out of this 15-minute inverted fair value gap, and we had draws on liquidity lower. We were super overextended bullish, and I wanted to see price retrace back down. So on the 15, we had broken through this 15-minute bullish gap, came back in and inversed it, and I was looking at an entry. At the same time, ES was respecting bearish order flow as well. Ended up entering right on this pullback on this candle at around 923, gave a 15-point stop, and just basically ran it down to those lows. Then I trailed my stop. Trailing stop got taken out on this push right here at 931 at market open. So pretty good trade. That netted me about 1350 on the eval. So then I needed 150 to pass, which is why I ended up taking that last trade, which I'm going to go over. So again, respecting bearish order flow, 15-minute inverse, draws on liquidity lower, low resistance sell side liquidity, 1-minute break of structure, pretty much just a simple entry, right? In and out in the pre-market. Again, not something I ideally would do, but I wanted to just get this eval out of the way, and I saw that setup and I thought it was clean. So from there, price continued to push up, and we were just getting super overextended, and we ended up tapping into this 4-hour bearish fair value gap. We ended up putting in a bearish SMT. As you can see, NQ swept out all those highs. ES hadn't swept out those highs, so we had a bearish SMT, and we had draws and liquidity lower. So basically from here, I was scaling down. I took my first entry in and around here, but I ended up closing it out break even because I didn't like how price was moving, and because ES was continuing to respect bullish. We had that one final manipulation back up, tapping into the 4-hour gap, and at the same time as NQ tapped in that 4-hour gap, ES was respecting out of this 15-minute bearish fair value gap. So I figured if this was going to hold, it was going to push ES down to take out like London and potentially Asia low, and NQ would probably want to flush down as well. So I ended up taking 2 entries on this trade. First entry was on the 1-minute inverse. Second entry was on the retrace and this bearish close right here at 1016, stops above the wick. And basically I wanted to see price push into this 15-minute bullish fair value gap right here. So at this point though, we got the nice push, stops to break even, and I ended up scaling out half right here as ES had swept out a low. And then we ended up getting that reversal. Rest got taken out in profit, and that was it for me on this trade. We didn't net much. We netted 1,100 bucks on this trade, so I wanted to see price obviously flush lower into this 15-minute gap. I wanted to see CE or the gap get filled, and then I was potentially going to leave a runner down to like London or something like that. But again, very small risk to reward on this trade, but we ended up walking away with a good profit, so I can't really complain. Again, we ended up getting back up, don't really want to see that happen. You want to see the momentum just continue to flush down. So I think I did the right move there. Didn't catch the whole thing, but it's all good. Then we ended up moving over to MNQ, and from there I just seen that price was continuing to respect this 3-minute inverse right here, and I figured that we were going to flush lower and take out the rest of the draws and liquidity, at least back into that 15-minute gap, which I mentioned before. At the same time, ES was continuing to respect out of this 15-minute bearish fair value gap right here, and I figured it was going to want to pull lower down to London. And again, I only needed like 150 bucks to pass. So basically I took an entry after we had a 30-second inverse on this candle right here, this break of structure, whatever. And it was a 30-second inversion. Took the entry right there at 1053, stops above the wick, and as soon as I passed the eval, I just ended up closing out. So obviously if it was a real trade, I would have held that down further, but nonetheless, pretty good trade. So this one passed the eval off the 3-minute inverse, taking it down, expecting ES to pull us lower. And then the NQ trades, again, first trade was pre-market, trading off the 15-minute gap, targeting the next draw on liquidity, pretty simple stuff. And then this trade, again, off the 4-hour gap, 1-minute inverse, following ES, but as ES took out the low, we move our stops, and rest gets taken out. So we walk away with a decent profit still. So again, everything's in the Discord, guys. If you want to go check that out, link is in the description and the pinned comment. And that's going to wrap it up for me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.